in the middle here, and he's explaining the Pnimi Yonim of Chassidus, the Mishnah. It talks about, the Mishnah says, Shali, Shali, Shalach, Shalach, which means, what's mine is mine, is what's yours is yours, means I'm ready to give you as long as I'm not losing. As long as what's Shali remains Shali, then you can have. So the first opinion is that's a midas beinus, and the second opinion is that's a midas doi. Because therein is the difference between Oir and Shefa. He said, in general, Oir is that the Makabel receives and there's no change to the Mashpia. We give the various Masholim for that. Shefa, however, different Masholim, where the Mashpia is changed. Then he said, in Oir itself, there is this distinction. Oir Makif and Oir Pnimi. We gave a moshel for that. The moshel we gave was the chassid is not engaging. On the other hand, he's tailored his behavior, cognizant that he's being viewed. So there is an inyan of chassid, but not the same, to the same degree of chassid as it is in shefa, as in the moshel hashpos aseichel. As we explained at length of the last 2 or 3 shiurim. So now we say, let's go to the bottom. Okay, do the very last line. So you just finished saying that Oir Pnimi is also the inyan of chassid, as we just explained, the marshal. How much more so by the kol shkein, 3 lines in the bottom. Mashposh, with B'chinas Kelim, for sure, the various mashalim that there is chassid in the mashpia. Shekiven shiba b'yischalkos mischalekes lachalokim reza chassid mamish. In the case of hashpa, so the mashpia is invested into the mekabel, into the limitations, b'yischalkos of the mekabel, like the muscle of a teacher and the various talmidim in the classroom. So therefore, is a chassid mamish, for sure that is an investment that, quote unquote, detracts externally from the mashpia. What you do, as it's known, shemigimu b'chinas ha'oir, the market from the 3 levels of 1, oir makiv, that's 1 category, oir, which we're talking about, oir pnimi. Category 2, the kelim, kavishem, l'mayla, and kelim. So l'mayla, we have these 3 in Yom. The L'mayla, there's oir makiv, there's oir pnimi, and there's kelim. In broad, simple terms, there's oir abligvol, oir avol, and then there's kelim. That's what all Mishtashel is made up of in all relative degrees, these 3 components. So it's known that from these 3 inyonim, nishtalshim, lamata, so how do they manifest down here? Gimel inyonim within a person. Of oir, he emanates his presence. Chayis, translation would be energy, and koyach, and the word is a word that can explain what koyach means, but koyach means the 3rd union, Keli, where mamish invested effort, invested in the mekabel. Oir, chayis, and koyach, the 3 states. Oir is effortless. Chayis is the middle state, which is not effortless, but it's not invested directly, engaged in the outside, like the second mashal we gave of Oir Pnimi. And koyach means when a person is outputting koyach, he is invested mamish in the recipient. So the parallel is the inyonim l'mayla we just said, Oir makif, Oir pnimi, and kelim. The Oir of b'chinas Oir makif. Oir parallels Oir makif. Again, what is Oir? Oir is just being, and that's it. That's Oir makif. Oir makif is the transcendent revelation of Elikus that emanates from godliness without consideration and no relationship even to a recipient. Chayis of b'chinas Oir pnimi, So chayis is already an oid pinimi. Now, he's actually talking about the various koiches, the various investors of the neshama in the guf. There's a level of oid, there's a level of chayis, and a level of koyach. So the level of oid is just the fact that he has a neshama. So that makes its presence known in a way of oid. That's a makif. Then there's a chayis, then there's a tzimtzum in the oid that animates the various avarim and limbs of the body. That's an oid panimi. And then this koyach, that's the actual expression, the fusion of the nefesh with the limbs. It's not just animating them, but actually the expression of the limbs animated by the body, where the mamish inseparable, the life force of the soul and the body are inseparable. The body is alive, that's the koyach. So there's three levels, he's saying, of the neshama's animation of the guf. One, its presence. Then there's an oir pnimi, which is the next stage in animation, but still doesn't lead to a body that's alive. And then there's the koyach, which is actually manifested tangibly in a living human being, where the limbs and of the physical body is completely suffused with the neshama and it's alive. So he says, the oir b'chinas oir makiv. So oir means a transcendent light. Chayis b'chinas oir pnimi. It's a light that's already tailored to, again, the Moishe gave of the chassid who is considering his behavior because he's being viewed. And koyach is already mamish investor mitzad hakelim, the Moishe, the teacher, the classroom. As the figure explains in many memorim, koyach is different from oir pnimi in that it really is divided into different divisions according to the pu'ula that the person is doing. So we say, we in common vernacular, we talk about having koyach or more koyach. So it's the energy output. So some things you do more koyach, some things less. It drain you with more energy, less energy. So it's divided mamish according to the pu'ula. And oir pnimi is this quasi level in between a just unqualified pure energy output. Oir pnimi is a oifen of tzimtzum, but the oir pnimi is not like, it's not the stage where the action with the physical limb is actually expressing. So oir pnimi means more like, I can move my hand, there's a chayis that's in my hand that will give it movement. And koyach is a level where it's actually happening. We're actually moving it. And then there's the oir stam, which is the fact, oir stam is, to make it, to use different language, oir stam of the nefesh is that you're alive, period. Your finger's not more alive than your brain is. Life is life. It's in your atzmi. That's the oir. There's a neshama, I mean, nefesh of the kids. There's a nefesh, an animating soul that's in the person. So there's the oir component. He's alive. And there's no difference in life between one place and the other. It's not tailored to. The finger's not more alive than the hair follicle. It's not life. And there's the oir pnimi. Then there's the chayis, there's nitzamtzim in the hair and in the limb. Every limb has a different chayis. But the koyach is already not just the tzimtzum of the energy in the particular limb, but invested in the limb and the limb behaving. And therefore there's even more or less in oir pnimi. When it comes to chayis, it's the v'erech ha'pu'ula shepoya. Again, he'll tire more with where there's more chayis invested, or is it with or less chayis invested? That's the measure. Where Pnimi is not tired by being in one keli or another keli. Some keli demand more chayes, and some keli demand less chayes.
Chayes or kol?
Huh?
Chayes or kol?
Koyach. I'm sorry, we should call chayes, that's the middle level. Koyach. The chayes as it is invested in the keli to actually act. All right, so the middle level is a bit quasi. It's a quasi level. For the extreme was easier to understand. Alive, period, or what kind of life is, what kind of life is expressed in? Intellectual life, emotional life, behavioral life, different worlds. The Pnimi is the intermediary stage between pure life and the manifested individual tailored life of every organ. If we think further for a marshal for that, that will help us in understanding the guf. I gave a marshal again for the chassid who's changing his behavior because he's being viewed, but not because he's invested. It's a marshal, but now to make a marshal for chayis in the guf, the same meaning. We'll try and find the marshal for it. Let's go further. So now, so when is it that the mashpia is affected? Chosser means the mashpia is affected. As we said before, it's shefa where there's really a change. Not so much an oil that there's something which is an oil pnimi. It's also a change. In the Moshel, the chassid is now compromises behavior. It shouldn't be misinterpreted, or it should make you whatever his cheshbon is. It's not such a chassid as being invested in that person's world, in the viewer's world, as the teacher. So likewise, he's saying over here, that the ikar chassid is the ashposh and b'chinas hakelim, is the koyach, is what is mamish investing in the keli, and the keli is animated and activated. Very pnimi is the potential to see, act, walk, to do. Right? The neshama is nischalik in taryag. In the end, taryag koiches. But this taryag koiches, 613 koiches, this stage before, and then the stage before. Stage before is the oid pnimi of the koiches. Stage before is the etzem chayis. Again, you're not more alive in one eva than the other. Life is life, period. They're no different. Or to put it in different words, it's not more human to have a toenail than to have a brain. Both humans have this. This is that's the oil in you. That's the atomistic thing. Not more or less in the other, and there's no chosser. There's no greater or less in one eva or the other. Then there's the oil pnimi. So the oil pnimi again is where there's the tzimtzum in the oil. It's now, it allows for, and it's invested. It's invested. The eye should see, the mouth should speak. Because that's not seeing or speaking yet. The actual sight, the speaking, that's the koyach. That's the manifested power. You know, koyach, the power. So that is mamish chosser. There's more power here and there's less power there. And we see begashmi, so you get more tired from one activity as opposed to another because there's more koyach invested there. So that's what concludes that where's the real chosser in shefa, and the parallel to shefa is the kelim, the koyach, the kelim in the where the kelim themselves are animated. Where's the ikar chosser when the investment of the nefesh is all the way down and fuses with a different kelim. But the pnimi is less, again, the most of the chassid, he's less compromised when he's just watching the way he's being viewed, then he's actually getting involved in their world. It's a completely different chassid. Which is he's just being himself. That's the etzem oil that's animating, the etzem achayis that's in the guf. For sure, he's there, and from that will lead to the guf being animated. He's not depleted, not changed at all. The etzem chayis or the etzem chayis. Clear somewhat.
Yes, thank you.
Good. to whatever degree. We need more Mishalim, but you know what this is similar to is Etzem, Klal, and Prat. Same construct.
The
short's not chassid.
I'm sorry?
The short's not chassid. They're in
I'm
makif.
sorry,
For sure, that it's a zen then it's a lichassid.
I wouldn't know another example of bias, the one besides Rabbi Gorelik's example.
I'm going to try and explain this. Here's another illustration of this. Everything has three components. There's the etzem, there's the klal, and there's the prat. Simple illustration. Talk about an apple. Everything we're speaking is relative. Also is relative. That's everything is relative. What's applicable from one level is applicable for another. Every darg is relative. And all the dargas exist within all the dargas. So Jesse Davis always jokes that when he comes to Mashpir, he asks the question, it says that this darg is this, but this maimitz is that. Mashpir answers, depends where we're speaking. That's the answer. It's all relative. It's one God manifesting himself endlessly in all of these ways. So the unity of the one Eibush is in everything. It's all relative. It's all integrated. Akulponim. So here's another manifestation of these three inyonim of what? Of Oir, Makif, Oir Pnimi, and Kalim, the Maila, the way it is in the Guf, in the Shom, the Guf, Oir, Chayes, and Koyach. Now another Moshe. Say three words, but really the same meaning. Etzem, Klal, and Prat. So let's illustrate. Everything has its essential core identity, then it has its general identity, and then it has its details. So simple motion, an apple. So the etzem is it's an apple, it's relative. Then there's the klal, the type of apple. It's a Macintosh apple, a very delicious apple. Then there's the pratim, the weight, the color, the size, the sweetness, etc. So the apple is actually much illustrated. The fact it's an apple, that's true of every part of it. No part of it is less or more apple. No part, the color, the skin, the color, anything is an apple, finished. That's what apples. And not more and not less. The klal, what kind of apple? So that already, there's already tzimtzum. A Macintosh apple in general, whether it's sweet or sour, whatever it is, there's already a tzimtzum in the inyan of an apple to be defined in a general way that encompasses all kinds of details. Then there's the actual details, the weight, the color, there's a million details. And when it comes to the detail, some details are more expressive of the apple than the other. More significant to the Macintosh apple than the other. Its taste, for example, its size, its weight, whatever it is. So the details of it, that is in our moshel, that's the koyach. The chayis is the klal, the type of apple. And then the oir is the etzem that is an apple. And what we're illustrating here is what's the investor. It's all a question of investor outside of self. So the apple is just not invested in more or less in anything. It's all apple and finished. It's what it is. That's mo'er. The mo'er is a mo'er. It gives light, and the light ends up another moshel. In the ashpa, the light illuminates a diamond. The light goes everywhere and illuminates and brings light to endless things, but it itself is unchanged. The chassid, he comes to town, sits in Beis Medrash and learns and davens. The whole town is transformed, but completely effortless on his behalf. He's not invested. So again, so it's not like there's more investure of apple in one detail than the other. Absolutely not. It's all apple, and that's the end of the story. The klal is this in-between stage where there's the kind of apple. So that's like the tzimtzum in the oil of the apple. What kind of apple? And then the pratim are That's the koyach already. The tangible details, the experience details we point to, taste and color and size and the etc. etc. That's already the koyach, the kelim. That's the kelim mamash. That's the kelim. We're talking here about the taste, about the color, the texture, and all the hundreds of details that we could define and break the apple down to. There's bigger details and smaller details. And Macintosh apples have little spots. It's not as significant as the taste. That's a much bigger detail that is expressive of the Macintosh apple. The Macintosh apple has a stem that goes like this. And the green apple goes like that. Yeah, it's true, that's a difference, but that's not a big expression of the Macintosh apple. So there's some details. It's color, that's a big thing. Its taste is a big thing. Its size, whatever it is. So the pratim, Yishalkas pratim, they express, some express more, some express less. So that's the chassid. That's the chassid. The chassid is, metaphorically speaking, the apple is atomistic apple, which really applies really to all apples equally. All apples. So it's chassid, meaning to say, it becomes compromised when you start talking about what? The details mamash. That's when it's mamash compromised from its transcendent just apple state. Now we're really compromising that and saying we don't mean apple, we mean this one and this prat. We've taken the apple and we've completely limited it to a taste, a color, and experience. So that's a chassid. Meaning to say we have reduced it, removed it from apple, period, and we're not dealing with you on that particular level because we're into the taste and color, which the other apple doesn't have. So that's the inyan of chassid here. We're removing it, depleting it from its essential state. So all these marshals are helping us a little bit because they're very different. The marshal we gave in the Maimon before, which the Maimon gave of chassid is, of hashpah, mitzad kelim, is the teacher in the classroom. And here we take this further also. Different kids in the classroom will engage and train the teacher more. There's more chassid. The kid who's an easy makabel, it doesn't. Teachers has to be that's more of everything. The teacher's there and the kid gets it, talks. We actually gave a most of the teacher maybe these three dargahs. Maybe give a most of the teacher and say this as I'm talking to him, thinking of this. There is a teacher in the classroom, just walks into the classroom. Walks into the classroom. There has to be hashpah here. Okay, so what is he doing? He reads the text that they're going to learn. He reads the mission. He reads the mission.
He doesn't have to do anything.
I had these three misholim. I'm going to find three dargahs here. So the first dargah is he is not engaging the students particularly. He's saying the mission. Second dargah is not such a perfect marshal, but he starts to now re-articulate the Mishnah. He just translates it first. Then he re-articulates the Mishnah in language for this class. Third dargah, he's sitting with a kid, a particular kid, and explaining it. This lapsh is not kid's word. The perfect marshal for three reasons, but kind of a marshal. First one is, says the touches up the mission. There's a revelation here. And it's to take it going further, that's how he would learn. That's how he learns the Mishnah. He reads the Mishnah. Him already, it's all clear on his level. Second stage is already tzimtzum in the teaching. He didn't engage the individual students yet. He's now articulating the same Mishnah on a level that is applicable to this age group of kids. And the third level is he gets involved in each individual kid, explaining with further mashalim, sits down with him, what's your question, gets into the kid's world and mind, and really brings it down to his level. So that is koyach. The second level was chayis, tzimtzum in the oir. The first level was the oir, just a pure mishnah itself. It's flawed, but it does bring out the...
Why don't you just cut out the first thing about saying the Mishnah? Because the saying the Mishnah, the teacher walks into the classroom, that's the presence.
No.
Secondly, that's a presence itself. And he's not, if you're saying he's teaching means he's getting involved.
The student, no, it's not good because they're getting nothing. There's no zenen, the first level, there was a kid could get it. One of the brilliant kids there will get it. Just coming to the classroom, that nothing is happening. Nothing is happening.
But saying is an investure.
What?
But speaking is already an investure. It's not natural.
When he learns for himself, he also speaks. When he learns the Mishnah, he also says the Mishnah. That's the way you learn. That's still in his own world. When he says he's just saying the Mishnah without translation. No, even teaching it. When he learns the Mishnah, he teaches it too.
Okay.
That's how you say that's you learn the Mishnah. He says it, he says it, he translates it. But it's still his world. It's still his world. Now someone
can I ask you something? Even
in that marshal, something they're getting. Everybody's getting something. Like the chassid in the environment is, wow, they're getting something. There is an inspiration. There's some change. But no change for the mashpia. That's the way he learns for himself. Again, it's a flawed marshal. But I want to bring out, you should understand the three dargis of relative of oir, chayis, and koyach. Yeah? Go ahead.
I know, I just want to ask you if this is an example. It's simple, but there's the neshama, then the neshama goes into each of our bodies. We're all unique. So the second level would be each of us having our unique bodies and personalities. And the third level is the way we express it, the way we use it.
No, well, okay, but because when he speaks about it's already in the goof. But it's
okay.
Where there's no choser, there's no lack in the mashpia. Again,
so the R is already in the body.
Yeah, so the marshal of the apple is an abstract marshal deliberately, and it's one you should think about because that's really will help understand it much better. The etzem of the apple that is not choser is not choser by the fact that the etzem of the apple could be a Macintosh apple or a green apple. That it does not in any way add or subtract to the atzmisdige apple property. It's somewhat compromised, the concept of apple, somewhat compromised when we speak about a type of apple. But where is it really compromised? When we get into taste, because sour and sweet are different. So when we're pinning the apple and we're engaging the apple, if our engagement is at the experiential koyach pearl mamish level of taste and color, then we have compromised severely chaser apple, which doesn't have to be this, it can be any other kind of apple. That moshel is more ethereal and it expresses what he's trying to say. So that we're talking here about, again, the neshama animating the goof. That the neshama exists in the goof, and that means that every part of the goof is alive equally human, not more, not less. There's loy chaser anywhere. Then there's the tzimtzum in the oil of the neshama. So that would be already as the neshama is tailoring itself to the eye, to the mouth to speak, etc. And then there's the koyach that actually fuses with that Ever Gashmi, sees and speaks. An experience that's seeing is not hearing, and speaking is not walking, and they're very different experiences. And some drain more and some drain less. Some kids will take much more of the teacher's attention, some kids will take less. And some kids almost don't do anything at all. They first said the Mishnah they got. It's already 7. Okay. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is the big challenge, friends, because tomorrow is what? Can you believe how quickly the week goes?